What's good, math family? In today's video, we're going to look at how to solve rational equations. I'm going to give you two very helpful methods you can use for this. In the first method for solving rational equations, we can use the properties of proportions. And it works very well when we just have two simple fractions. So all we're going to do is cross multiply, create an equation, and then solve. So I'm going to have 5 times 4 is equal to x times x minus 8. So we have 20 is equal to x squared minus 8x. So anytime we have a rational equation where we cross multiply and we have an exponent of 2, meaning a quadratic equation, we're going to have to factor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 20 and put it on the other side, right? So we could say 0 is equal to x squared minus 8x minus 20. Now we're just focusing on this right side and using our factoring rules to simplify. So we're talking about 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and I believe 4 times 5. I think that's it. But the key thing is we want factors that we could combine that'll give us 8, whether it's positive or negative, and this is the only combination. So now I know 0 is equal to x minus 10 times x plus 2. Remember, larger number is going to take that middle sign. Now the next important step is to set both of these factors equal to 0. If you leave it like this will not be the correct final answer. So now we have x minus 10 is equal to 0, so x is equal to 10. Or we have x plus 2 is equal to 0, and we know x is equal to negative 2. We could also express this as a solution set, meaning x is equal to 10 comma negative 2, right? And that is our answer. Now the second method which we can do, and I know students like to use this when they're not good with fractions, is just eliminate the entire fraction. So how do we do that? So let's get a little bit of space on the board now. And we're going to switch over to black. So we should know from just looking at this that our common denominator would be 5x, right? So let's write this out, 5x. So when we multiply on this side, x's cancel out. We multiply 5 and 4 to get 20. And this is equal to, and then on the other side, once we multiply by the same 5x, 5's cancel out and we're left with x. So we're going to distribute again. So we have x times x, which gives us x squared, and x times negative 8, which is negative 8x. So if you guys see, we're at the same exact step. And after I subtract 20 on both sides, we're going to get 0 is equal to x squared minus 8x minus 20. And then we'll go through our same factoring rules. So if you're a student who does not like fractions, you can eliminate it completely by multiplying by the least common denominator, which would be 5x. Now we're going to go over into our second example, and please stick around because now we're going to have more than two fractions. How would we solve? In this example, we have more than just the two fractions, meaning creating that proportion is a little bit different. So if you want to use the create a portion method, right, what we could do is combine this side, simplify this side by combining. So if I want the same denominator, I could multiply 3x over 2 by 2. So this turns into 6x over 4 minus 1 over 4. So now at this step, I could actually combine this into one expression, meaning I would have 6x minus 1 all over 4 is equal to 10x over 8. After I combine these two fractions into one, I can now use the properties of proportions and cross multiply. So I have 4 times 10x is equal to 8 times 6x minus 1. So we're going to get 40x is equal to 48x minus 8. Now, to solve this equation, this is just a linear equation, so it's different from the first one, which was quadratic. We're going to subtract 48x so that we combine our x's and that our constant and variable are opposite sides. So what I have now when I go up here is negative 8x is equal to negative 8. And now once I divide to get my variable by itself, right, we divide by 8, we know x is equal to, and please make sure you guys include your signs, right? Negative divided by negative gives us a positive. So my answer will be x is equal to 1. Now we don't have to worry about the denominator because there's no x in it. So we don't have to worry about, hey, x cannot equal to a certain number. We don't have to worry about that in this problem. The last problem, it will just be x could not be equal to 0 because we can't have zeros in a fraction. Now let's say we go over to the second method that we can use to solve this, right? So let's erase. So this second method, remember, what we're going to do is eliminate the fraction entirely. And how would I do that? Well, when we look at all three of these denominators, they have a common denominator of 8, right? Least common multiple right there. So if I multiply this side by 8 and this side by 8, what would I get? So we know 8 divided by 2 is 4. When we multiply 4 and 3x, we're going to get 12x minus, and then when we go to the second fraction, 8 divided by 4 is 2. Once we multiply 2 by this negative 1, this is negative 2. And this is equal to, 8 cancels out with 8, and all we're left with is 10x. Now to solve for x, I'm going to keep it simple and just subtract 12x from this side and 12x from this side as well. And what we have is negative 2 is equal to negative 2x. And now once I divide by negative 2, I know that 1 is going to be equal to x. So when you're solving rational equations, we could always get rid of the fraction, or we could just use properties of proportions depending on if we have a problem like this or an example like our first one. Really hope this video was helpful for you, math family. If it was, smash the like button for us, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel for more notifications, videos, and updates. We really want to tell you guys thank you again for watching Algebra-1 with Mr. Peters, and we will have a live stream coming up on how to simplify rational expressions and solve equations, as well as how to divide and multiply.